So this is the MFB 301 Pro. It's a drum machine. It's actually a re-edition of the very first electronic drum machine that MFB ever made 40 years ago. So it has that iconic vintage drum machine sound that I love so much. It has 8 analog sounds, and it looks really weird because I guess they kept the sort of format that they had at the time. So it has that sort of really sort of strange looking sort of 80s DIY electronics look to them. I mean, to me, when I first saw it, it reminded me of a radar detector. But anyway, I just love the sound that comes coming out of this little box. Everything, they've upgraded everything to be controllable over MIDI. So let's plug it in and see what it sounds like. So let's plug it in. So in the back of the 301, you have a headphone jack. The outputs, we can either be mono or TRS stereo, MIDI in, and a sync if you want to basically not use MIDI, and then power, which is over a USB port. So let's just connect this in and we'll get started. So as I said, the MFB 301 Pro has 8 analog sounds, which are kick, hi-hat, snare, cymbal, clap, tom, bongo, and clave. Alright, so let's audition the sounds. So this is the kick drum. Actually, let's put a little bit of reverb because nobody likes dry things. Alright, so we have the kick, hi-hat, snare, cymbal, clap, the tom, bongo, and clave. So those are mapped to the sort of first few notes of the keyboard. What the MFB did, which I thought was really cool, is they've actually used that range to create a few sort of predetermined sound presets, which could be sort of really useful. So we have, let me sort of see what we have here. So we have an alternate kick, so dry and short, and then a sort of longer decay. 2 snares, clap, short clap, and then toms. So 2 different sort of flavors of the tom in sort of 3 different pitches. The bongo, so emulating that sort of open and closed hand slap sound. And a higher pitched bongo. Then we have a clave, sort of low and dry, and a higher one. Then we have over here, I think, 3 different cymbals, hi-hats, so 2 different flavors of hi-hat, and I think that sort of covers everything. So there's actually quite a bit of range in each of the instruments. So let's go back and explore what we can do with each of them. So starting with the kick drum. So the kick drum has 3 parameters, which are the sort of tone, pitch, and decay. So this is the sort of tone from the more sort of muted to a sort of snappier sound. Here we have the decay. The decay can go from a sort of fairly short, snappy kick to a really long. And actually at the longest setting, the decay doesn't actually sort of ever die. So I'll just get back a little bit from that. So let's keep it long. And this is what we have in terms of pitch. So it can be tuned really low, which is sort of something I really like. Next we have the hi-hat. Okay, hi-hat is mapped to sort of tones, which is a mix between metallic and a more sort of noisy hi-hat sound. Then we have the pitch again and the sort of decay. So let's start with a sort of short decay. So this is the full metallic, and this brings in the noise. And then here, you can hear the sort of effect of the pitch, and then we'll have the length. So the actually sort of to get a sort of full metal and a sort of full decay on, you can get a fairly decent cymbal out of the hi-hat itself. Next we have the snare. Alright, so let's tune the snare. Let's go here. Let's tune the snare all the way down and make it super snappy. There we go. So we can, and it goes all the way down to a tom-like sound, so removing the sort of noisiness of a snare completely. And this is the, let me just increase the decay. Alright, so that's for the snare. Next we have the cymbal. Same thing, so just like the hi-hat, the cymbal has a mix between the metallic and the sort of noisy. And a really long decay. So this is the longest, let me just, metal, longest decay. And again, at the sort of shortest setting, the cymbal can actually double up as a hi-hat sound as well, which is great. Then we have the clap. So the clap is actually the only instrument that was not part of the original 301. It was actually borrowed from the next unit that MFB created, which is the 401. And it's really the only one that doesn't have pitch control. So there's only two parameters you can control: the sort of tone quality and the sort of decay length. So that's a really sort of short clap. So let's, so longer clap, muted clap, and then you can control effectively the sort of clap delay. So there, I actually really like the sort of sound quality of the clap. So I think that's something I'm going to end up using quite a bit. Next one on the list is the tom, which is over here. So same thing, tom has control over the sort of tone, so more muted to a more sort of snappy sound. A fairly good range in terms of pitch. And then the length, so from fairly muted short tom, which could almost sort of at the lowest setting, I feel like this could be a kick drum. Alright, next we have the bongo. And the bongo is probably my favorite sound on this unit. It has that sort of kind of pop quality to it. Just very, to me it sort of hits that sort of vintage feel for a drum. Okay, pitch again. And then the attack for more sort of open palm or muted palm. Same thing with the decay. And that's sort of the most open. And this is the most open setting. And then lastly we have the clave. So clave again, so there's three controls, which are the pitch, then here the decay, so very sort of short and snappy to a sort of slightly longer, and then muted, here long decay, and sort of a brighter sound versus a more sort of muted, filtered sound. There we go, so that cover each of the 8 instruments, and as I said, really like the sort of vintage analog sound that you can get out of the MFB 301. So I'm really happy that they did this reedition, and I grabbed one. This unit cost in the sort of 150 range. I think it's below $150. And that's it. I hope you liked the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.